Hello students, how are you all? This is Anup sir, your English teacher from Devasha International Public School.
Students, in this video, we will understand the poem Wind for class 9, which is written by Subramanya Bharati, and it was translated from Tamil by A.K. Ramanujan. Students, Subramanya Bharati was born in the year 1882 and died in the year 1921. He is a great Tamil poet, famous for his patriotism in the pre-independence era. A.K. Ramanujan is a Kannada and English poet, well known for his translation of classical and modern poetry. Before we start the poem, let me give you a brief introduction of this poem, Wind. We all know that wind is a natural phenomenon. In this poem, the poet talks to the wind. The power of wind has been described, and the poet says that wind is destructive. He has linked the destructive power of wind to the adversities of life and says that the weak people break down, but strong people emerge out of adversities stronger. The poem gives an important message that we should be mentally tough and physically strong in order to survive the hardships of life. A weak person breaks down like a weak building and crumbles. We must make these destructive forces our friends with our strength and determination. So, students, now let's begin with the poem. There's a question being asked to you students from the poet at the beginning of this poem. What is that question? The wind blows strongly and causes a lot of destruction. How can we make friends with it? Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clear at poking fun at weaklings. So, students, here, poking fun means making fun of something, and weakling means a person who's weak. Students, the poet is talking to the wind. He asks the wind to come softly. So, he is saying that the wind should not be very strong and loud. It should be soft. Then he says that the wind is very powerful, it is destructive. It breaks the shutters of the windows and scatters the pages. When the wind is very powerful, all the books which are kept on the shelf falls down. So here the poet is describing the power of the wind. He is saying to the wind to look at the destruction that he had done. Whenever there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak, like small plants, tiny children, etc., they all get scattered and they can even fall and get hurt. We can say that in the initial part of the poem, the poet is referring to the wind as a young child. He is saying that it should come softly, just like a small child does. In the later part, we come to know that the wind is destructive, just like a young, just like a young boy or a girl who is full of energy, violence, and destruction. Frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. Students, here crumbling means falling or to cause something to break. Rafter means sloping beam which supports the roof of the building. So, students, here the word crumbling is repeated so many times to lay stress that everything crumbles in the face of a strong wind. So, the poet is saying that when wind is very powerful and when it is very strong, it leads to breakage of everything. Houses which are weak falls. Doors which are weak falls. The beams on which the roof of the buildings are supported, they also fall. All the wooden structure fall. All bodies of the people fall. Even animals fall. Lives even fall. Even the hearts falls. So he is saying that everything crumbles. Everything that is weak reacts by falling down and breaking in the face of strong wind. So, the poet is saying that whenever a weak person faces any adversity or challenge in life, he breaks down and falls. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. Here, winnow means blow grain free of chaff or separate grain from husk by blowing on it. So, students, the poet is addressing to wind as wind god, and he is saying that the powerful god of wind winnows. That means he shifts all the people, and those people who are weak fall down and get crushed. So, here a comparison is made between wheat and people. Just like we winnow the wheat to separate the grain from chaff, the wind god separates the strong people from the weak people. When there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak falls and gets crushed. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friend with us. Students, steadfast here means firm. So, the poet wants us to make friends with the wind. That is, the adversities in our lives. He says that the problems will not listen to us, they will come. So, we should be prepared. In preparation, we should build strong homes and close the doors of our houses firmly so that the wind cannot get into it. And then he says that we should also make our bodies strong and hearts firm to face these challenges. And then, once we are strong enough, all the challenges will be like friends. We will not feel that they are troublesome. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. Students, flourish means grow. So, the poet has kept the wind on a pedestal. He is comparing the wind to God. He says that wind is God and we praise wind every day. He adds that everything that is weak gets finished off in the face of strong wind, and all the things that are strong gets flourished and grow to become strong. He is giving us a very important message that we should not feel bad that we are facing so many challenges and adversities in life. We should make ourselves physically and mentally strong to face these challenges and difficulties. And once we are strong enough, we will overcome the challenges and difficulties. We will become friends with them. And then we will be happy that we had these challenges in our life because they help us to become strong and better. Students, this was the explanation of the poem. Now, let us check the literary devices in the poem. Rhyme scheme. The entire poem is written in free verse. There is no rhyme scheme in the poem. Now, let's check out the figure of speeches used in this poem. Anaphora. When a word is repeated at the start of two or more consecutive lines, it is the device of anaphora. Here in this poem, line 2, 3, 4 begins with don't, and line 6, 7, and 8 begins with you. Personification. Wind has been personified. When the poet says you are, he is referring to wind as you. That means he is treating wind as a person. Repetition. Crumbling is repeated many times to lay emphasis. The poet wants to say that the wind crushes everything that is weak. That is why he repeats the word crumbling many times. Alliteration. The repetition of a consonant sound in closed connection. Wind winnows, won't want. Symbolism. Symbolism means that the thing refers to some other thing. Wind is a symbol in this poem. It refers to the challenges in life. He is using wind as a symbol for the adversities in our life. Students, these were the literary devices of the poem. Now, let us check out a short summary of the poem so that you can understand the meaning of the poem as a whole. The first part of the poem describes the action of the wind. The poet asks the wind to come softly. He requests the wind not to break the shutters of the windows, not to scatter the papers and throw down the books from the shelf, but the wind throws the books and tears the pages. The poet says that the wind destroys all the weaklings. It brings down frail houses, crumbling doors, rafters, and even weak hearts. It crushes everything that is weak. The poet advises us to be strong. Only then we can save ourselves from the wind. We should build strong homes with firm doors. Our bodies and hearts should also be strong. It is the way of the world to kick the weak and to be friends with the strong. The wind blows out the weak fires, but makes the strong fires roar and flourish. Thus, the poem conveys the idea that nobody cares for the weak. Even the wind is on the side of the strong people. We must make ourselves strong to become successful and overcome the challenges in life. So, students, this was the poem Wind for class 9, which is written by Subramanya Bharti and is translated by A.K. Ramanujan. I will be sending you the notes of this poem, which you will have to write down in your classworks.
So, students, this is all about the lesson. This is Anup sir saying thank you and goodbye.